We're live. Hi.
Hi. Well, I got to tell you, this is the first time I've ever done this kind of an interview. I've done Skype, but what would you call this?
Live on Twitter.
It's a Twitter interview.
Yeah.
I gave my Twitter account to these young kids that were mad.
The Gravel teens.
Yeah. But I had a Twitter account since 2008, and I just never used it. I find it difficult to be limited in the words that I use.
It's hard, yeah.
But well, obviously, Trump has it down to a science.
Well, I got a couple questions from people. They were curious. One was what you think of Elizabeth Warren.
I like her. I would characterize her as being tightly wound, which is not bad. It means that she talks fast, she thinks fast, she's very able, and so the three persons that I really respect are Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Tulsi Gabbard. I think opposite of Elizabeth is Tulsi has an aplomb, a gravitas that I've never seen in any other elected official in my life, and I'm just drawn to it. She's a unique person, has a unique background, and so does Warren. My God, what a background she has! And of course, but my choice for president is Bernie, and he could either pick Liz Warren as his vice president, or better still, pick her to be his Secretary of Treasury. And that would give her the power to do what she wants. Now, the reason I'm not all that keen for her being vice president, because she's on up there in age, and that would give us two elderly people got an extensive background, even at 38, and have her mature in a vice presidential position. So that would be my recommendation to Bernie, to pick Tulsi, and then to pick Liz Warren as Secretary of the Treasury, so that she can take all of these plans that she has and implement them directly, and be able to interface with the new Congress.
Gotcha.
Does that help?
It does, yeah. Some people have criticisms of Tulsi Gabbard. What do you think about them?
Tulsi, here again, the criticisms I don't think are valid anymore. There are criticisms from her being raised in a very conservative, religious household, and so it took her a great deal of time to mature out of this, and I've read all the negative pieces they've done on her, and all I can say is there's a maturation process that we all undergo, and hers was such a process, and so when she says now that's no longer my view, well, I think that people ought to look at themselves and realize, well, how did I feel about this when I was 20 years old, 21, or 18 when I was in the household? So, no. And her family is a political family who are very conservative, so that she's been able to shake that off, and of course, that comes from a religious community. I don't know how religious she is, but here too, having been in politics most of my life, I started when I was 15 years old, and I've recognized that there's a maturation process, there's a growth process, and when a person experiences that, that's a good sign. If they don't mature, that's a bad sign. You get a lot of people in politics that don't mature, and Tulsi has matured. And how I acquainted myself with that is just looking at all the charges against her. And they may have been valid. Some of them I don't think are valid, but they're not valid now. and she's really showing herself who she is. When she stands up to Obama on the issue of military issues, and of course was pushed away, she resigned from the Democratic campaign committee in the House, and Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton and Obama were really screwing Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. They denied him, they cheated him out of the nomination, and he could have beaten Trump.
Yeah.
And here again, the Democrats have this habit of stealing victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah.
If I got that right. But so no, I would. I am very accepting of people who have interesting backgrounds, mm-hmm. And all that. But when it's a background, what it means is that they learn through life, mm-hmm. and that's so valuable to happen. And that's what I see in Tulsi Gabbard, just looking in.
Yeah. Cool.
The person I look up to politically the most is Hubert Humphrey. And here again, you could pick up a few things that you can say negative about Hubert Humphrey. But it's like Tulsi Gabbard. You have to look at the totality of the person and what they've done and what they're doing. And with Hubert Humphrey, I got to tell you, when he came back into the Senate, I didn't know him very well until he ran for president. But in the Senate, I worked very closely with him. I was a maverick, I was outspoken, and so we would conspire on things, and I would raise all kinds of hell, and then he would make sure it got through. And that's where I came to admire him as a realist. And that's one of the things I was saying with respect to Tulsi and Bernie and Warren, is that you got to be realist. Here, Warren turned around and supported Hillary. Bernie was her neighbor. She knew Bernie. She knew his record. But why did she support Hillary, who was a flawed candidate? And her response to that is a legitimate response. She wanted to have influence. Okay, I can understand that. Mm-hmm. But by the same token, it's taking the measure of the person. Tulsi resigned from a position with the DNC. Yeah. And endorse Bernie. Now, make a comparison. Has Tulsi got such a bad record when you begin to look at it from a certain realistic perspective?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.